All right, so the second part of chapter 4, 4C, right? This is still 4C, but this is talking about total and annual returns. So an investment grows from an original principal, right? So this is the original principal, and then you have the accumulated balance, A. All right, so P is the principal and A is the accumulated balance. So the total return would be just the accumulated balance divided by, the accumulated balance subtract the principal all over the principal times 100%. And then if you think about annual returns, an annual return yield, this right here, annual percentage yield, is the accumulated amount divided by your principal to the 1 over however many years, right, you have, minus 1. And honestly, it should be this whole thing times 100%. All right, because it's a percentage. All right, so let's look at these. You invest $3,000 in a mutual fund. Over 4 years, your investment grows to a value of $8,400. What are your total and annual returns for the 4-year period? All right, so your total return would be, all I'm doing is just following my formula here. So my accumulated amount, $8,400, subtract my principal, $3,000, all over my principal, $3,000, right? And then whatever this is, I'm just multiplying it by 100%. So you can enter it in your calculator that way. You can do it however you want. This isn't so important, or I'd say isn't so, you don't need to be as careful because it's not as much. So you got 180%, right? That's your total return, 180%. And it's a positive number, which indicates growth. All right. What about your annual return? So here we're saying you take your accumulated amount, $8,400, you divide it by your investment amount or your principal, $3,000, and then that's going to be to the 1 over however many years, right? 1/4. Subtract 1, and this whole thing, I'm going to multiply it by 100%. So I'd say in this, you probably still need that fraction bar. So I'm going to say parentheses, fraction bar, right? 8,400 divided by 3,000. Then that whole parenthesis to the 1/4 power. So another fraction bar. Subtract 1. All right, and then I'm multiplying that by 100 and throwing a percentage on it. So this means I have 29.3, I guess we'll say 36%. That's growth. And we're talking about per year. So, overall, so give the same overall growth over Y years. So this is, 26%, or I'm sorry, 29.36% growth per year. All right. So here's one. I would advise you to try it yourself. Hit pause. See if you can do this. All right, I'm going to jump into it. So you purchased shares in newweb.com for $2,000. 3 years later, you sold them for $1,100. What was your total return and your annual return on this investment? So we got the total, and then we got the annual. I should say total return, and then I'm gonna just say annual return, right? So total return, I take my accumulated amount, which is $1,100, subtract my initial, principal, all over my initial principal, times 100%. So 1,100 subtract 2,000, negative 900, divided by 2,000 times 100 gives me negative 45%. So this is a loss. Right. Negative 45%. We're talking about, it's not growth. I'll just say loss because we're talking about money. All right. What about the annual return? Well, I'm taking my accumulated balance, $1,100, dividing it by my initial balance or my principal, $2,000. I'm putting that to the 1, and then however many years that was, so 3 years later, so 1/3. Then I'm subtracting 1, and all that will be multiplied by 100%. So we got negative 18 point, I'll just say 1%, right? So that's a loss. Also, that's a loss. Yep. So, and that's all we got here. I hope that's helpful for you.